Now I'm gonna have to pass the mic. Go on. Team build. It's okay if you don't want to. I mean, you know, you don't fucking have to. This is why we don't let Swagnet go on microphone anymore. Because it always ends up with some kind of dodgy rap, and then I always end up having to call the fire brigade because my house gets on fire. Anyway guys, how's it going? And welcome back to the Battle Union and my team analysis team builder thingy against Potato Jim and Meath Mamoswines. And his logo, if you haven't seen it, is actually fucking fire. It's beautiful. Like an absolutely glorious piece of GFX. I don't know who did it, but it's beautiful. But yeah, Jim is a great guy. I've known him for not as long as a lot of the other coaches, but he's a genuinely cool guy, and we've actually started to, like, he's so cool that we invited him to come to EGX with us, and he's actually coming to EGX with us, so I don't know, Jim's a cool guy, we get on, we have a bond because we both are bad at the game. I mean, I'm bad at the game, and he's not, but anyway. Basically, the team this week that Jim has is things and stuff. Mega, I think it's, I'm going to try and do this off the top of my head. Can't remember for the life of me. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. Mega Aggron, Florges, and I can't remember the rest. Mega Aggron, Florges, Pangoro, and I should probably start looking for other things and stuff. Okay, I found his team. It's Mega Aggron, Latios, Florges, Shaman, Terrakion, Rotom Heat, Pangoro, Mismagius, and Zygarde. And that's pretty cool because he has a lot of things that I can take advantage of. Such as Mega Aggron being a Steel type, which I will get onto later. And I can also abuse the fact that he doesn't have a Fairy Resist besides Rotom Heat and Mega Aggron, both of which don't deal with Sylveon very well. However, I have a little other thing that I noticed while building this team. His team is actually incredibly weak to the coverage that Lantern can get, and that leads me on to something that I want to draft in PPL Season 4. Basically, I've figured that with an Agility up and Life Orb Max Special Attack, I actually kind of destroy his team with Agility Lantern. The only things that I can't really hurt there are Pangoro, Mismagius, and even they aren't going to want to be taking a Life Orb Hydro Pump. So I've gone with Max Special Attack, enough speed to outspeed the entire team after an Agility, including the Terrakion and the, I think it was enough speed to outspeed Scarf, Jolly, Pangoro with an Agility up. And that's pretty damn cool because I'm just going to decimate the team if I can get an Agility up with this thing. But the only problem is it can be revenged fairly easily because it doesn't necessarily have the bulk that it should have. Because I haven't been able to put any investment into any of the defenses. And I do miss, and obviously there's a Shame in there which isn't going to be OHKO'd by an Ice Beam. But I can still, with a bit of weakening, kind of sweep through the team with that. Now the next one I have is this Mega Latias here with Reflect type, Calm Mind, Stored Power, and Recover. Now I was gonna go with something else over Stored Power, but I figured if I don't go with Stored Power, then I'm just gonna get countered by something or other. There's nothing that I can bring that will hit the entirety of his team for neutral damage, so there's no point in not going for Stored Power, to be honest, because with a few Calm Minds up, I still destroy him with it. Whether or not I manage to get a Reflect type up is another issue. But the basic premise of this is come in on Mega Aggron as it tries. Well, I come in on something that I can revenge with this thing, and then as Mega Aggron switches in, I go for Reflect type, meaning it can't Toxic me and it can't hit me super effectively with any move it has. And that means that I can Calm Mind in its face. After one Calm Mind, I believe I live a life. I live a Draco from non-Life Orb Timid Latios. After 2, I live a Life Orb one. After 3, I live Specs. Actually, no, I think after 2, I live Specs. I'm not too sure, but yeah, if I can get a couple of Calm Minds up, I can just sweep through Stored Power because I've got enough speed on here to outspeed the entirety of his team and speed tie with the Latios. Another problem I might have is that Stored Power is a Psychic type move, which means that it's not going to be able to hurt the Pangoro, which is not good, and that means that basically things and stuff are going to have to get in the way of us sweeping. But if we're going to actually do this, we're going to need to get that Pangoro out of the way, and in order to get Pangoro out of the way, we're going to need to chip it because it's a Pangoro and it's a friggin' monster. But the next one I have is another interesting little thing. Rock Polish, Iron Head, Rock Slide, Power Up Punch, Registeel. And I probably should have gone with Superpower over Power Up Punch, but I figured that I could possibly get a sweep with a couple of Power Up Punches up, because Registeel is bulky enough to live a couple of hits. If I can get a Rock Polish up on something like the Latios that doesn't want to really do anything to me, I can Rock Polish, and I can manage to set up on something. I can take a Drain Punch from Pangoro, and I can set up a Power Up Punch on it, and then I can Iron Head it and do damage. In the hindsight, probably should have gone with Superpower, because after doing Calc, Superpower with this set does Oko Pangoro, which is completely beautiful and would have been quite interesting to see, but the match has been done now and it's a very good match, and I'm really looking forward to showing you guys. Obviously I'm pointing out things that I could have done differently now because it was a good match, and quite frankly there's a very good, interesting little result at the end of it, but this guy could have changed the differential a little bit, which is quite nice. The next one we have is Salik, Fairy, Substitute, Sword Stance, Garchomp with Earthquake and Outrage as its attacking moves. Another thing I could have quite done differently on this thing, and I say this now, is because I have Sand Veil as the ability, because I didn't have time to change it. And I'm quite frankly just stupid, and I've just realised I've also broken the rules of the TBU, because they don't allow any abilities that can raise evasion, which is not fun, especially when it means Garchomp doesn't have access to any of its original moves from the gen it was built in, if you do it that way. I don't agree with that rule, because neither me or Jim had any use for Sandstorm on our teams. There would be absolutely no reason to bring sand. None of us have a sand setter. None of us have anything that benefits from sand. So there would be absolutely no reason to bring it. And all I'm doing is just wrecking myself up. I probably should have done this, change it to Rough Skin. And I also probably should have done this and changed that to Dragon Claw. Because the only reason I had Outrage was because I wanted a way to definitely Oko the Latios. I didn't have one of those, so I thought, oh, Outrage will kill it. I didn't realise that Dragon Claw would also Oko it, because I didn't do the calcs, because I was a bit pressed for time, but it doesn't really change the outcome too much. So that's kind of fun. But yeah, this guy can literally set up a substitute on something that it scares out, such as Pangoro, or I can bluff a Scarf because I'm good at that. I'm good at bluffing Scarfs with Garchomp. So I can come in and I can set up a substitute on something, and I can Sword Stance up in something's face, and then I can keep substituting until I get down to Salik range, and then I can just proceed to sweep his team, unless he has something like a Banded Zygarde with extreme speed, which I'm kind of worried about the priority there, but I do think I can live a non-banded one or non-invested, because, you know, it's a Zygarde and it's not going to be doing too much. The next one I have is part of another two-part plan I have. Looking on his team, nothing stops Sylveon when Mega Aggron gets hurt. Mega Aggron, if that thing can get worn down enough, actually can't stop Sylveon. If I can get that thing to like 50% HP, Sylveon is not being stopped by Mega Aggron. Sylveon is a monster, and I need a way to set up something quite interesting with Sylveon, and I have a plan of doing that, but the first thing I need to do is I need to Agility Pass into it. And Shoyo has proven to me that he's incredibly good at doing so. Now I have a Baton Pass, Agility, Fire Blast, High Jump Kick, and the reason I have such offense investment is because I quite need it. Obviously, I have the minus speed nature, but I still outspeed everything on his team with that minus speed nature and an agility up, so it was not beneficial for me to lower one of the defenses. Even though I am Focus Sash, I don't necessarily need to go down to it, so having as much defense as possible while maintaining optimum speed was what I needed to. Obviously, I've invested into a speed stat that's minus. That doesn't bother me in the slightest, because I still outspeed everything on the team with an agility up. Nothing on his team, barring Choice Scarfers, can actually outspeed that, which means that I can actually go on a pseudo rampage with Blaziken if I get the chance, so I can agility up on something, and whether or not I can hit it with a High Jump Kick or a Fire Blast means that I can do some considerable damage to it. and if needs be, as a last resort, I can Baton Pass out of there into Garchomp. What have I done? Into, let's just get rid of that. Into Michael Bolton, into Squishy, into Rose, into any of them, and I can give them a bit of a speed boost. And the final one on the team is Choice Spec Sylveon. Bit of a reference to the nickname I always use, which is Fernando, because I've called it something in the air. There was something in the air that night. The stars were bright. Fernando. Yeah, that's Fernando. And I've gone with Hyper Voice, Baton Pass, Hyper Beam, and Echoed Voice. Now, Echoed Voice is a fun little move, and if you don't know what it does, it's 40 base power, but it doubles its power or increases it by 40 each time it's used in a row. So, if I can come in on something that's considerably weakened, get one Echoed Voice up, it becomes 80 power, 2 Echoed Voices in a row, becomes 120 power, 3 in a row, 160. No, 4 in a row, 160. So that's stronger than a Hyper Beam, if I can use it 3 times in a row. And if I'm Spexed, I'm still getting a Pixelate boost off of it. Excuse me. I'm still getting a Pixelate boost off of it. So, that's pretty freaking cool. Because nothing on his team really wants to be taking a Hyper Voice from Sylveon anyway. So if I can find time to go for an Echoed Voice to kill off something that's weakened, it becomes 80 power, which is then Pixelate boosted and Stab boosted. So that then becomes pretty much as strong as a Hyper Voice, and then if I can kill something with that as well, I then get another boost off of it, and it just starts to really hurt, and it just racks up the damage, and I could really just go ham and start using 160 base power Echoed Voice to sweep his entire team, which would be the optimum outcome if I could get something in. The EVs I've gone for are once again enough to outspeed the entire team, plus Scarf Pangoro. Yeah, plus Jolly Scarf Pangoro. I think I've crept a Jolly Speed Pangoro, I'm not too sure, I think I did. Yeah, I think I've crept Jolly Speed Pangoro with a Choice Scarf. I might have not, I'm not too sure, but it doesn't really matter too much because I'm pretty sure Pangoro can't really do too much to stop me anyway, unless it carries the Gunk Shot. Even then, he has to be Scarf, so that's a thing. But yeah, obviously, if I come in and then I realise that Mega Aggron's still at high health, I can then Baton Pass back out to see if the Aggron wants to come in, and then I can go into, say, Garchomp, and then sub down on its Scout if it has the Ice move, and then just go for a Swords Dance or something like that, or I can go out into Squishy or Rose and decide to start setting up on things, and that would just be the optimum outcome. And Sylveon is going to be, once again, an absolute cannon and a nuke, and it's going to do things and stuff that hit like a truck. So that's awesome. But yeah, guys, that's the team. Those are the mons we're bringing. It's going to be one hell of a match. It's probably, if I have to say, the most fun I've had in TBU all season, with Jedi's match slowly and closely behind it. Like, that was a fun match last week, and this one's definitely the one I enjoyed the most, just because of how close it was, how good it was, and how much attention to detail came into it. And I must tell you something, guys. I built this team in half an hour. Half an hour. Literally 30 minutes. That was literally the only time I got down to sit down and record it. Half an hour. That's how long I built it in. And to see my prep work out this much in the match, you'll see how much it worked out in the match. You'll see how much it worked out. And to see 30 minutes of prep do that much damage against someone was absolutely incredible. So, you'll see what happens in the match. Just check back tomorrow. No, it won't be tomorrow because unfortunately the TBU scheduling has kind of gone to shite. So you'll probably be seeing this on Sunday. Unless I can manage to get it done for Saturday, but expect it on Sunday. But the match will be up soon, and it's a friggin' incredible match. So, yeah, make sure you guys check back for that, and I will see you in the next episode of or video of whatever I make. So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a great day and a great life, and I will see you later. Take care of yourselves.